Hey, you're listening to the right episode of the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast. If you wanted to hear Carl White and Steve Kiles talk about common questions that are coming up in the Loan Officer Breakfast Facebook group, you ask questions, Carl, and we're gonna answer them. We're gonna talk about what we're hearing and our thoughts on it. So I'm your host, Steve Kiles. I've got my dynamic co-host with me, Carl White. What's up, my brother?
A dynamic duo. We need dynamicduo.com. I like
You're
that.
wearing your Superman shirt, right?
I got a big S on my chest, right?
Oh, mine says mortgage
There's Mark.
marketing animals. Mine's not an
I
S.
love these. I love these questions. So we get them
Yeah.
on the breakfast on the Loan Officer Breakfast
Club.
Facebook group page, and go in there and look at some of these questions. Because you'll see people disagreeing with us and having different viewpoints, and I love them, man. I love it. It challenges us. And you don't just get our viewpoint of it, you get other people's viewpoints too. Some really good stuff on that page. So loanofficerclub.com. So
hey, and hold on, let me just say something. If you're new and you're listening, one of the things we host our gift to the industry, Carl and Frank and Kristen, myself, Monday through Thursday. It's a 30-minute Zoom to help you stay focused on the right selling activity. It's at the loanofficerbreakfastclub.com. And so what we've got is a great community, Carl. Man, it's like just under 20,000 people in our private group, and it continues to grow every day. We're seeing so many people join, and then people are asking questions and the community's responding. And I love the question like Marla McGee asked. She said, "Hey, I'm curious, Carl, does anyone find value from joining the local Realtor Association?" And so, man, what a great question. Let's talk about that.
All right. So you want to take it first? You want me to?
You take it first.
All right. So I'll do it, and then you correct me where I'm wrong. Is how this? Yeah, I got it. Right. So I'll tell you my take on this one.
Yeah,
it depends.
Okay.
So I belong to, in the past. No, I'm currently not, but in the past, I belonged to two different local realty associations, right? And I found it didn't really matter for me. Because on mine, they would invite me to come teach classes down there to the real estate agents. And I found out that they didn't, whether I was a member or not, they were looking for somebody to teach classes.
That's it.
So I was a welcomed guest on their thing because I brought something to the table that frankly cost me nothing, right? I didn't pay for it. I just went and taught the classes, which, by the way, we have all those classes on the
done for you. Yeah.
Done for you, with the PowerPoints and us actually doing the class as an example for you that you can 100% swipe. You've got our permission to do it. And so I, on the mortgagemarketinganimals.com website, right?
Yeah,
so for me, my local associations, as long as I had great content, which I did, thanks to many of you, because some of you let me borrow your classes you taught. And that's how we put all these classes together. I did some, you did some, and some of our members did them. And everybody said, "Hey, we put all these together, and we're sharing them, helping each other out." Anyway, so with my association, as long as I brought something really good to the party, which in my case was information, they were more than happy to have me present there, right? And they always gave me like a VIP type of welcome, right? It was awesome. Now, I will tell you that every time I went down there was a young lady that worked the desk down there. Is I would always bring her like a little bag of candy, a little thing of good chocolates, appropriately though, right? I didn't bring her. Yeah. And if I brought flowers, because I'd bring flowers sometimes, but not. I'm old school, not roses. Like some date, just some a cute little something to put on her desk, right? Nothing, right. Nothing weird or anything like that. So I did bring her like small little trinkets, right? And you want to, whoever the gatekeeper there become there, or whoever does the scheduling become their new best friend. So for me, the power I got was finding out who in the Realtors Association are the top producers, and then not via the association, but just simply picking up a phone call and calling them. I'm kind of a simple guy. I like a simple plan. And my simple plan is there's a couple of ways to get from A to Z. One is to go A to B, B to C, C to D, E to F, F to G. So I'm going to become the Realtor Association, and then I'm going to volunteer for this this group, and I'm going to go this and that and this and that. Then maybe I'll meet the person I'm looking to have coffee with. Screw all that. I'm just going to find out who's highly productive and call them. Right. That's it. And if they say no, I'll just call one of the other 999 here in my local area that are closing 8 buyer sides or more. Like there's literally 1,000 of them, if not in your city, certainly in your state. So instead of adding in all these extra steps of joining the Realtor Association, what if you could bypass that? Just simply pick up the phone and call them with our daily success plan script, which we'll give to you. You can have it.
Yeah.
Why not just do that instead of delaying your success by adding in all these extra steps in the process? So for me, I would say that brought me no value whatsoever. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And somebody said, because I did it for a while. We did it for probably, I don't know, 5, 6, 10 years, something like that. I just wanted to kind of give back to a group that did me so good, and they did
Yeah.
do me so well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so for me, it was a way of giving back. Same thing, I'm real big into the Florida Association of Mortgage Professionals because I live here in
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the different state. I'm getting ready to go out to the Oklahoma Association, do a little thing there, and my friends in Nevada and Arizona and California, all the Texas, all these great groups. The one in Washington D.C. These great groups, right? And I love helping them out, and I love making donations to them. But it's more of a way of giving back rather than expecting something from them. Frankly, I'm saying thanks for what they already do. And so if I'm doing it thinking it's going to bring me more business, it's probably not going to do that. We're simply just picking up the phone and calling the producing agents. We'll bypass all that. It'll happen faster, quicker, and doesn't require me to write a check.
Hey, and if you heard Carl say we'll give you the plan, go to freedomplanningcall.com. We will literally give you the plan of what to do, who to call, what to say. It's our gift to you. Freedomplanningcall.com. And so let me just throw that out there. Hey, Carl, you know what? Go ahead.
Spencer, do you have a different take on this one?
Well, you know what I wrote down? Elevated level of thinking with simplicity. When you were talking about it, I thought, man, Carl, and most people, this is why I love spending time with you. We sharpen each other at such a high level. It's elevated thinking with simplicity, because when you laid out the plan, hey, there's multiple ways to get there. You can even go from A and skip over to D and then skip over to G, and keep skipping maybe 2 or 3 letters, or you can go A, B, C, or you can go A to Z, and you can choose. And what I love about your picture is, man, that's such a simple way to think about it. You can, but what if there's a better way that gets you even more results, a little bit faster, a little bit easier, with less headaches? And here's what I thought is this: if you do an association event, you got to know, you taught me this, what's my desired result? I'm going to join the local Realtor Association. What is my desired result? And you said it too. If I'm going to give back because I want to give back, awesome. Or am I going because I think it's going to help me make more money and have more business? And if it's charity, cool, give back and know that you're exchanging time for the feeling of giving back. But if it's money, then join the association with strategy. Here's what you and I know. 96% of agents produce less than 8 buy-side transactions a year. So if I go to a room with 100 agents in a Realtor Association event, it's likely that only 4 or 5, maybe 6 are actually qualified. And if they're not qualified, you're investing time, energy, and money with people who don't have the ability to give you a deal. They do. You and I talk about it. An unqualified agent doesn't mean they're not a great person, doesn't mean that they're not likable, doesn't mean that we don't enjoy spending time with them. We do. But if they got 4 buy-side transactions a year, they're likely to refer you half, which are 2. And we know that 1 in 4 will go to closing. So the question is, will I get a deal this year or a deal next year? And here's the dilemma most people face, Carl, is this. I hear people say it all the time. I'm busy, I'm out of time, and my family time is suffering because I'm doing too much. And whenever I hear that, I think of the first thing is, how do I become more effective, not busy? So is joining the association an opportunity or a distraction? Would I do better to make 2 hours of outbound calls with qualified agents that actually give me a better return and a better result with the amount of time spent? Look, when you go to an association, Carl, you and I know it, you leave at 10:30, you get there at 11, you're there till 1 o'clock, you get back to your office at 2, and half my day is blown. And there were 4 or 5 qualified agents there. So if you do, what's the desired result? Attend with purpose. Make sure that you're targeting the qualified agents, because what I've found, A lot of the agents who attend the events are people that have a little bit less business and more time. And so just be aware of what you're doing it for. And is it an opportunity or distraction? If it's opportunity, go for it. Distraction, focus on what moves the needle the most for you. So,
Mm.
hey, here's
Oh,
another great question.
okay.
Wande asked, and this is a great question, Carl. I love this in the Loan Officer Breakfast Club Facebook group where she asked, or Yawande asked, hello, just curious, how many calls do you make on a typical Monday within 2 hour window? Because our process is the outbound sales activity. So on Mondays, we're talking to qualified agents. How many calls can you make, Carl?
So, and I'm just going to kind of repeat this out loud as I ponder this one.
Yeah.
I'm not pondering. I know the exact answer. I just want to make sure everybody understands what we're talking about here. So every Monday, we're calling real estate agents. We're calling three groups.
Yep.
And you've taught me this, Steve. We're calling the agents that's already referring to us.
Yep.
First group, we call them every Monday from 9 to 11. First group, agents already referring to us, right? Using our Thor's Hammer script. The next group of agents we're calling is those that we've met with, either coffee, maybe we
Yep.
had a phone call, maybe they were the listing agent, maybe we saw them at the Realtors Association, right?
Yeah.
So these people that we've already met with, but they're not referring to us yet. We call them, and then the final group we're calling is agents that we're calling to meet with, but we haven't met with them, nor
Yep.
have they started referring using another set of scripts. So the question is, on those three groups of people, how many do we call on typically on a Monday 2 hour window? So for me, the question isn't really how many I'm calling. The question is how many am I talking to?
Mm,
We have found the magical number to be 13 talk tos. I need
yeah.
13 people to pick up the phone and say hello. Some days I can do that with 30 phone calls. Some days it might take 60 phone calls.
Mm,
I think the secret to do it. So, and when we do that 13 hellos per day with agents that are closing 8 buyer sides or more, it's impossible to screw that up and not be having a very robust mortgage business. Let's say in a 90-day time frame, maybe in the next 3-4 months. Like everybody, the activity you're doing today
mm-hmm.
is going to dictate how many loans you're closing 3-4 months from now, right?
That's right.
And it's going, yeah, but I'm slow right now. That's because you didn't do this activity 3 or 4 months ago, and here you woke up this morning as today, but that was 3-4 months in the future then. So now you've got a decision to make. When
That's
you
it.
wake up that morning 3 or 4 months ago, which is going to a month from now, which is going to be today on that very day, where have you positioned yourself to be? Right.
Mm,
So, all right. So back to the question. I think the mistake that most people make is when they're making outbound phone calls, they delay too much in between calls.
yeah.
So I leave a voicemail, I put it down, and then I ponder, oh gosh, how did that go? And did my message go okay? Screw that. Your message went fine. Call the next one. Like just instantly call the next one. And when you do get somebody on the phone number on a phone call, we've got these little
Egg timers. Yeah.
egg timers, these
Yeah.
little three
That's it.
minute egg timers,
Yeah.
right? And on these 3 minute egg timers, that's how long my call is.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got these scripts dialed in so that when I'm calling Realtor Steve Kiles, my phone call is a very effective, very productive referral getting conversation. And I can pull that off in 3 minutes because Steve is busy. He's one of the
That's right.
top agents.
Yep.
Last thing he's got time for, especially on Monday morning, is to talk to Carl for 45 minutes, right? And even if Steve likes me, he still doesn't have time to talk to me for 45 minutes, which is
Mm-hmm.
true in mine and your personal life, Steve. We in the middle of the day, we're not getting on the phone talking for
Mm-hmm.
45 minutes. And dude, I love you, man. But
I know that we ain't got time for it. We're running.
and the reason why I take your call in the middle
Yeah.
of the day is I know you're right to the point. It'll be a quick 2, 3, 4 minute phone call, and
Mm-hmm.
it's important. And then we're on to the next one.
That's
And
it.
so when you're making these outbound phone calls, you got to stick with the 3 minute scripts that are effective and productive. And so you have to do that. So now, the answer to that question is typically I'd be looking at somewhere around a minimum of 20 calls per hour, right? Because on most of them, I'm going to be getting a voicemail, which takes very little time, right? And the ones that do answer, it's a 3 minute phone call, referral getting phone call. So I would say a minimum of 20 calls per hour. probably max is somewhere around 40 to 45 per hour. If I've got one of
Yeah.
those automatic dialing things,
Yep.
like burnerfreedom.com kind of thing. So 20 to 40 per hour. So in a 2-hour period, I'm looking at a minimum of 40 calls to up to about 80. But the bottom line is 13 hellos. And if I'm not getting 13 hellos, then I need to call more of the
Yeah.
third group, which is those
Yep.
agents. Like I'm going to call the ones that's referring to me first,
Yep.
the ones that I've met with but not referring to me. And again,
Yep.
all those have to be qualified. They're all closing 8 buyer sides or more in the last 12 months.
That's right.
And then if I got time, then I'm calling
That's right.
qualified that I haven't met or talked to yet. How about you? Is that
Well,
anything?
it goes back to it's the I love how you make it so simple. We get focused on the outbound calls, and it's important to make outbound calls, but really the target is the talk tos, because when you're talking to somebody, that's where you get the opportunity to ask for even more business. And for the three different, remember this, with your qualified focus 40, which are the ones that are actively referring, and for the people that you've already met with, the script is really, really simple. And we've got there's 9 scripts that'll transform your business from sales and sales fulfillment. We'll give it to you at freedomplanningcall.com. We'll walk you through. You can take some screenshots, but we'll help you there. But Carl, what I love, the whole purpose of the outbound calls for the people that I'm working with or I've met with is, hey, Carl, who do you have today that I could help you get pre-approved to make sure it's a great use of your time? The call has a call to action at the end. And for my Thor's Hammer, the ones that I'm working to meet with, the whole point of it is to be able to invite them to coffee to hear what it is they're doing to have great success. I think you're awesome. I'd love to treat you to a cup of coffee to hear how awesome or what you're doing to be so awesome, especially in today's market. And so remember this, the outbound calls are the mechanism to the talk tos, and the talk tos are the mechanisms for the closing or the call to action. And so, I think we get, again, it goes back to the busy. Am I busy making calls or am I busy making talk tos? Because look, Carl, on average, here's what we see. You make 100 outbound calls, you're going to talk to about, I don't know, in today's environment, if you're doing Thor's Hammer, probably 25, 30, a great day, maybe 40. And so it's really about the talk tos. And here's one thing that I hear people say often, Carl, is, yeah, but I get on the phone and the agent talks to me and they want to keep talking. Two things. Most top producers don't want to be chatty Cathy's. It's just like Carl said, they've only got time for a quick check-in call. So one of the ways you could do it is even set expectations. Hey, Carl, hey, listen, I had 3 minutes, wanted to do a quick check-in call with you. Man, did you work or you play this weekend? And what you can do is set the expectation of, hey, it's just a quick check-in call. And you'll find that most people realize, oh, yeah, okay. Hey, well, listen, Carl, man, I played this weekend. Awesome. Tell me about that. Oh, that was fantastic. Hey, listen, before we get off the phone, who do you have today that I could help you get pre-approved to make sure it's a great use of your time? And so I think and somebody may say, well, I'm not that good at it yet. Awesome. No one is. It's working the calls and making more and more calls. The more calls you make, the better you get. The more weight you lift consistently over time, the stronger your muscles get. But the key is you got to have a timer. 3 minutes.
Yeah. And you talk to if you're not that good, if you felt, hey, I don't feel like I could do it that well. Hey, you talk to 13 people per day.
A day. Dude, that's killer. Over time, that's a massive business.
You'll become a master of it in very short order. And
that's great.
You'll get paid like a master too. So
very
hey,
good.
We got one more question here if we have time.
Okay.
We got time for one more quickie?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so this question came from Michelle Ringsdorf. Love Michelle, awesome lady. She said, hey, I'm looking for a company to help with content for a quarterly newsletter for our database. So in other words, hey, I want to send a newsletter out to my past database. Who would you recommend? So yeah, you ever done? So what she's talking about here, which is a phenomenal question, is I'm wanting to market to my past database, right?
Yeah.
Because Michelle understands that 27% of all loans close with a person referred by a friend or family member.
That's it.
And to market her past database, so she gets a good share of those loans. So you ever done a newsletter by chance?
I don't do a newsletter, but I am very consistent on our monthly mailing. So we do a postcard and then we do, holiday cards, but not a quote unquote newsletter.
What's on your post? What's on your postcard?
You know what? So for us, it's really simple. It's either local events, it's holidays. We just did one back to school. Sometimes we do what Joe Girard did, which was just the thumbs up, I like you. So we mix it up, and I use a company out of San Antonio that literally puts every 4 months campaign together. And then on the 7th of the month, they send me a note and say, we're sending it out. And so we do postcards, not a newsletter. I just find it simpler. You know what we found out, Carl? And we talk about this in our 2-day boot camp that you and I do. Joe Girard is in the Guinness Book of World Record for the #1 used sales carsman ever in history. And do you know, in his, I think it was a 14 or 15-year career, he averaged selling 3 cars a day. 3 cars a day. Like that means towards the end of his career, he was probably selling 5 to 10 cars a day, because in the beginning, he certainly wasn't selling 3 cars a day. And they asked him, how'd you do it? And he said, I sent a mailer every single month, and it was simply like a thumb. And it just said, it was like, I like you. It was literally something so simple. I like you, Joe Girard. That's it. And that's what drove his business. And so I like it. I think, it's a key part of having past client business is just staying in front of them. And frankly, what's on it doesn't even matter.
That's so I'm real big on studies. Like, I love testing stuff, right? It's just it's more of it serves me well in my business, but it's really more of a hobby. So I love testing stuff. And and I've got a database big enough that it's substantial, so we could do a good test. Like, if you have 100 people in your database and you split, you got 50 one way and 50, that's not a big enough of a number to get
enough to sample.
Yeah. It's not a big enough sample size. So I've got when I did this test, I had a very large past database. Anyway, so we did a newsletter.
Yep.
We did postcards.
Yep.
We did that sequence of Dean Jackson talks about letters from the heart.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think, him and Joe Stump, they were partners. And so you might hear Joe Stump talking about letters from the heart. That actually comes from Dean Jackson. So we did letters from the heart. We did letters of success, talking about success stories of clients that went through a hard time. And we wrote this long letter and how we helped them with send out to our day. Like, really good stuff, right? Really good stuff. And then we did the recipe cards. So we split our database up and sent all these different things. And the results shocked me. I knew without a shadow of a doubt. I was
drum roll, please. You got to tell me. I'm on pins and needles.
I was predicting the newsletter to either the newsletter to win, or the the well-written letters from the heart, the Superman stories. And
that's what I would think. I would think that
that's what
I
was sure that's what was going to see. And what we found out, it didn't matter.
Wow.
These stupid, and we made fun of these things, the stupid recipe, which I thought was going to be last place.
Yeah.
Just as well as, and I'm using air quotes here, what appeared to be a handwritten note from me.
Yeah.
Stupid recipe cards pulled as well as anything. So I would say I wouldn't do a newsletter. Nobody's going to read it. Those stupid, actually, we had more response from those silly little recipe cards as far as people emailing back, hey, thanks, I made this one. Here's a picture of it.
Yeah.
Like, but as far as like how many loans did we get, they all worked equally as well.
Wow.
And
so then the answer is this: do the one that takes the least amount of time, energy, and money. That's how you do it.
Everyone takes the least amount of your time, and you can get up and going the fastest.
That's it.
And man, I hate saying this because it just goes against every marketing fiber of my being is those stupid recipe cards.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and if you just Google, I'm not affiliated with it. If you just Google recipe cards loan officer, somebody will pop up.
Yeah.
We found that combined with the phone call. Now, when we did this, part of our database got just the mailers without the phone call. Drastic difference, way decreased. So the phone call combined with the monthly mailer was a home run, absolute run. So the good news, Michelle, is it doesn't matter which newsletter you use, but they cost more. Not that it matters because we made a ton of money doing this, but I think those postcards, I think they're like the recipe.
You can get them, for under $1.
Yeah, they're
cent
like
first
60 cents
class. Yeah.
delivered,
Yeah. Yeah.
each 70 cents, something like that. The newsletter, I think, was like a buck 75 or something
Yeah.
like
Almost
like
$2, $1.50. Yeah.
and yeah, and so I would just do, as much as I hate saying
Mhm.
this, I would just do the recipe cards, but
Yeah.
you got to call them, and you got to
Yeah.
call them right scripts, and we'll give you those scripts. So
Hey, and listen, go to freedomplanningcall.com. If you don't have them, we'll give them to you. We would love to just walk you through a success plan of what to say, even the purpose of the call. How do I call the past client database? It's a lot easier than you think. Hey, and Carl, in the network that I run with loan officers and branch managers, I mean, we're averaging 28 to 30, maybe 31% past clients from using the same strategy. So, I mean, it's a significant amount of business coming in currently. So, brother, this is good. I love these questions.
hey, man, good
Good
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah,
Great,
but
great
brother,
thoughts.
we'd have no questions if these people,
Yeah.
Like Michelle, didn't go on there and ask these great
Mhm.
questions, looking to sharpen their sword. And so we appreciate those of you that are part of Loan Officer Breakfast Club. Again, a free service to the community. Thanks for going on that Facebook group page and asking great questions. And we appreciate all the other people that answer the questions somewhat differently, oftentimes with different viewpoints. And we embrace that, and we love this the diversity of the group with the different answers and where they come from. So we appreciate that. So couldn't do it without those people, of course.
Oh, love it. Well, thank you for being a part of our community and here on the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast, the Mortgage Marketing Animals, and we're honored just to be alongside you. So remember this: anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See ya.